Hi everyone, welcome to the live stream.
Good morning, everyone, and a very warm welcome to each and everyone participating this morning to another one of our very exciting live stream series leading up to the CZITT AI Energy Hackathon 2026. So, we all know that we are living in a time where artificial intelligence is no longer something of the future. It is already transforming how we learn, work, solve problems, and even how we manage energy and build smarter communities. That is exactly why this session matters. Today's focus on AI and coding is especially important because coding is how we communicate instructions to machines, and AI is how those machines begin to learn, reason, and assist us in solving increasingly complex challenges. So, whether you're completely new to coding, experimenting with Python, curious about AI tools like Claude or ChatGPT, or simply wondering how this all connects to the hackathon, this session is for you. I encourage our students to listen actively, ask questions boldly, and think creatively because the innovators who will shape Trinidad and Tobago's energy future may very well be in this live stream today. Let us begin. Daniel.
Thank you very much, Ms. Fustam. I am Donald Baldev Singh. I am the founder of CZITT, and I'm very proud to be associated with this AI Energy Hackathon. As Ms. Fustam just said, we firmly believe that you who are taking part in this hackathon will be part of the future of Trinidad and Tobago insofar as energy efficiency improvements, use of technology, and being on the cutting edge of the solutions that we need to generate. Now, why do we need solutions? We have talked about this. Trinidad and Tobago is one of the top producers of carbon emissions per capita in the world, which means that we each individually have an obligation to reduce our carbon footprint, which is the amount of carbon emissions we generate from our daily lives, in order to reduce the impacts of climate change. What are we doing at the schools? Well, we're learning, we're passing exams, we're competing in sports and other areas, but we are generating a large amount of what we call greenhouse gas or carbon emissions. In this hackathon, we are intending to help you to understand how you use electricity in your school, how it contributes to climate change through the use of energy, which causes power to be generated, which produces carbon emissions. And we want to equip you with some of the latest and greatest tools to developing solutions. And out of the hackathon, the best solutions will be put forward for further funding at your school to actually implement what you came up with. And I've had the great pleasure of hearing from a student of one of the competing schools who was ready to come to the hackathon with their solution and demonstrate it. So they are ahead of the game, and I want everybody to be at the top of your own game in this hackathon. So let me run through a few things, please, and then show you a couple introductory videos. First of all, let's talk about your electricity use. We've been through it to some extent, but I want you to understand that there is a meter at the school and at your home that measures how much electricity in kilowatt hours you are consuming every day. And in some cases, as much as every 15 minutes, it's working it out and it is actually recording it. And then the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, who is a partner in this program, they send this bill around every 2 months, and it shows how much electricity you have consumed at your school and what is the cost. So if we could zoom into this to see some of the numbers more clearly, you will see that there's a period, a start and end date. There's a number of kilowatt hours used at your school, and then there's a tariff or the rate per kilowatt hour. So if it was possible to zoom in, we would show you some of this detail. All right, so we'll have to put up this generic bill on the website so you could zoom in on your own and therefore get to have a closer look at the composition of your bill, because apparently, technically, we cannot zoom in on this at this moment. But in your bill, look out for the number of kilowatt hours that your school has consumed in the period. All right, so that comes by way of looking at your previous meter reading and your present meter reading. And the difference is the amount of kilowatt hours that you use during that time. And then TNTech has a charge per kilowatt hour, and that works out to how much the electricity bill is. Now, the bill is very important, and out of this, you will save your school money by reducing how much electricity we consume, and therefore how much we are charged for. But also, in reducing your bill, you will be reducing the amount of carbon emissions that your school has caused to be generated because of the kilowatt hours that they use. And that, the relationship between your kilowatt hours and your carbon production is something called the grid emissions factor. And I want you to keep this term in mind and look it up and understand what the grid emissions factor is for Trinidad and Tobago, because that is the conversion of kilowatt hours to kilograms of carbon. So when we talk about reducing the carbon footprint and the impact on climate change, you are really trying to reduce your kilowatt hours, and through this factor, understand how much you are in fact reducing the emissions from your school. So that's the first thing. The second thing we want you to understand is that in this hackathon, you are developing solutions to reduce your emissions. And the solutions can be varied. They can be improve the energy efficiency, meaning reduce how much electricity we use on any given day or night. And you can come up with solutions to say substitute the electricity that we use, which is coming to us from burning natural gas at the power stations, and that results in carbon emissions, substitute it for renewable energy, and therefore we can save so much carbon. So think about those two things. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about the scoring for this hackathon so that you will understand that your solutions, how you will get graded for the solutions. Now, we will put this up on the website, but just for you to understand, your data analysis and use of AI will earn you up to 30% of the marks. And we're marking out of 100, so that means 30 marks. the feasibility of your recommendations, meaning how easy it will be to implement your recommendations. That will earn you up to 25% of the mark from the hackathon. Thirdly, and this is the part I like in particular, your creativity and imagination, they will earn you 20%, up to 20%. So they say think outside of the box, meaning imagine what you can do and be creative about it. Then 15% of your marks will come from your presentation and clarity. Now, this will be on the day itself. How you present your solution to the judges will earn you up to 15% of the mark. Now, even though the hackathon is on a particular day and you have to finish on that day, there's no reason why you can't practice different means of presentation in preparation for the hackathon. And then, we've been talking about teamwork and leadership, and we're actually giving you marks for that. Up to 10% of your mark on the hackathon will be for your teamwork and your leadership in the team. And the judges will be walking around and talking to you and will be judging that on June 12th at the hackathon. So that's the breakdown. And as I say, it will be on the CZITT-ed.org website. Under resources, you will see a page on the hackathon, and this information is going to go up on that page. The other thing I wanted to tell you on this session is think about the components of what we're dealing with. There's the data, and I am letting you know now that you will be receiving data on your own school's use of electricity. So the data is a vital part, and how we understand and analyze that data needs to come out. Secondly, the tools. First, let's talk about the tool that analyzes the data. Your use of a tool to analyze the data is an important part. And the tool can be directly from the AI, and you can use a prompt that analyzes your data. And I'm telling you now, your data will be in what you call CSV format, which is Microsoft Excel. Your tool can directly analyze that data, either as AI looking at the data. It can be AI that generates code that analyzes the data. Or it can be directly within Excel, using the tools available within Excel to analyze the data. Those are some of the ways that you can analyze the data. Now, remember I talked about data analysis and AI use in the scoring. So to the extent that you use more and more technical and complex tools in your analysis of the data and your development of solutions, you will get more marks. So you could decide, let's just deal with the best way we could dive into this data without too much complications with the AI and so on. You will find probably, I hope, you will have a working solution that would be feasible and you would get good marks for all of it. However, if you use the AI, either directly analyzing the data, or if the AI can generate code to analyze the data, it's even better. And your project will become more, to use the word, implementable. So happy creating, and we're looking forward to see what you come up with. I also want to open that you can reach out to CZITT with questions, And what we will do is any question that any individual or school asks, we will send the responses to all the schools. So feel free to reach out to us at the email address admin@CZITT.com, and we will give you a response and send it to all the schools. Right. So what we're going to do now is show you 2 introductory videos, and we are only going to show part of the videos because of the time constraints at the moment. And we want to encourage you to go to the same resources on our website, and you will see links to these videos and others that we suggest you look at to help you think about what your solution is going to be. So let's go ahead and play the first video.
Let's get straight to the point. All of us work with data regardless of our role, but very few of us were taught how to analyze data in a structured way. So in this video, I'll bridge that gap by sharing a simple 3-step framework that basically turns ChatGPT into our personal data analyst with 0 technical skills required. Let's get started. First, a bit of context. In all my past roles, management consultant, account manager, product marketing manager, I've had to work with data and present findings. Like most of you though, I've never received any formal training in data analysis. But I also knew AI could help. So after taking the top AI for data analysis course on Coursera, I learned that the key was giving ChatGPT a proven framework to follow and have the AI perform all the hard analytical tasks on our behalf. Diving right in, the framework I learned is called DIG, Description, Introspection, and Goal Setting. And in a nutshell, by using ChatGPT to apply the DIG framework to any data set, we're able to, number 1, understand data we've never seen before in a matter of minutes instead of hours, and number 2, extract insights that we, as non-data analysts, would have missed. Here's a simple visualization. When you get handed a spreadsheet with no context, you're at 0% understanding. But with every dig prompt you input into ChatGPT, your understanding of the data increases. And by the end of the dig framework, you've uncovered insights that would have taken hours to find manually, if you found them at all. 2 quick things before diving to a real case study. First, I'm using a free Apple TV Plus dataset that you can download and follow along. And it's actually pretty cool to analyze real data from popular TV shows and movies like Avatar: The Last Airbender, The Godfather, and Sherlock. Second, the industry standard framework is actually called EDA, Exploratory Data Analysis. But I'm using DIG in this video because 1, the principles are the same, and 2nd, the professor on Coursera probably used DIG because it's easier to remember. Step 1, description. Picture this hypothetical scenario. Your colleague, let's call him Tim Cookie, just rage quit for absolutely no reason and left you with a spreadsheet with 0 context. At this point, we need ChatGPT to explain or describe what's in the file as quickly and effectively as possible. So let's open up ChatGPT, upload the dataset, select the latest reasoning model, and start with the first description prompt. List all the columns in the attached spreadsheet and show me a sample of data from each column. The reason we start off with this prompt is because it forces ChatGPT to actually look at every single column in our dataset, and more importantly, gives us a quick overview of the data we're working with. Looking at this output, I want to point out 2 things. First, having ChatGPT return just 1 sample output is much easier for us, the human, to digest versus having to make sense of an entire spreadsheet we've never seen before. Second, the sample is selected as Forrest Gump, a classic, nice. And it returned all 8 columns from the original spreadsheet, great. But the release here is 994.0, and there are 2 genres separated by a comma. So this might represent issues for ChatGPT down the road, so we want to make a note of that. And I'm actually not really sure what IMDb ID means. Does every show and movie have a unique ID? I'm not sure, so I might want to follow up and confirm. Next, description prompt number 2. Oh, I'll link to all these prompts down below, by the way. Take 5 more random samples of the data for each column to make sure you understand the format and type of information in each column. So why are we asking for more samples? Because that 1 sample we received might be an outlier and therefore misleading. Multiple samples help us spot inconsistencies. Looking at this output, we see there are TV and movies under type, but we knew that already. This TV show has 3 genres, okay? These movies have 1, all right? And some of this is available in one country, others are available in multiple countries. Okay, so our understanding of the data set is increasing. Moving on to description prompt number 3. Run a data quality check on each column. Specifically look for missing or empty values, unexpected formats or data types, outliers or suspicious values. This is pretty self-explanatory. We want ChatGPT to explicitly tell us if there's anything weird about the data we should know about before proceeding with our analysis. Okay, there's several tables here. This first one tells us how many values are missing from each column. So for the title column, we're missing 589 values, representing 3.1%. Going down, 10% is pretty high. Whoa, okay, 99.7. This number tells us that for the available countries column, we're missing 99.7% of the values. I can double check really quickly by going into the raw data set and doing a quick filter, or sort rather. I'm gonna sort this, and I'm gonna scroll down. Yeah, most of these rows are completely empty for the available countries column. This means we should not perform any geographical analysis with this data set because we're missing that information. At this point, it should be pretty clear that first, although ChatGPT is not doing 100% of work for us, it's making our job as a human analyst much easier. Second, remember how the goal of the description step is for us to understand the data set as effectively as possible. I'm not gonna waste your time here, but in real life, I would have at this point asked follow-up questions like, hey, what does this TT number mean here? And ChatGPT would have confirmed it is the unique IMDb number. By the way, if you use Google Workspace tools at work, you might want to join my newsletter to receive an insanely actionable tip every week. Link down below. Next up, we have introspection. And the purpose of this step is to have ChatGPT brainstorm questions it could answer with our data. This shows whether ChatGPT truly gets our data and often surfaces insights we hadn't considered. Prompt 1. Tell me 10 interesting questions we could answer with this data set and explain why each would be valuable. And long story short, good questions mean ChatGPT understands our data. Bad questions equal there's a misunderstanding that needs fixing before we proceed. These first 3 questions are solid. How has Apple TV's yearly output grown since launch? If we're putting out more TV shows and movies year on year, it might mean we're capturing more market share. What share of releases are movies versus series each year? This might tell us about viewer behavior. Are we trending more towards TV shows or movies? I love this one. Which genres dominate the catalog and how have they shifted over time? Imagine you were on the Apple content team, right? You might want to invest more in the most popular genre next year, or maybe additional analysis tells you the genre is oversaturated, so you want to pull back. Prompt 2. For the first 3 questions, tell me exactly which columns you need to use and whether the current data is sufficient to answer it. This basically forces ChatGPT to show its work and tells us whether or not we can perform these analyses. We say that for question 1, yes, we just need to fix 0.3% of non-numeric entries. We can ignore that. For question 2, yes, we need to do some light data cleanup. That's fine. We can tell ChatGPT to do it. For number 3, yes, we have all the information we need to perform the analysis. Awesome. Prompt 3 is my personal favorite for the introspection step. What questions do you think someone would want to ask about this data, but we can't answer due to missing information? This basically surfaces gaps in our data set and helps us manage our boss's expectations about what insights we can uncover. Here we see questions like, what's the most watched genre? We can't answer that because we don't have the viewing metrics. Or, from an ROI perspective, which genres deliver the best cost per hour of content? We don't have the production budget, revenue, or cost fields. But here's where it gets interesting. What if I had access to some of that data? Let's say my friends at Apple invited me into Apple Park and I hacked their servers. That was obviously a joke, very unrealistic scenario. I don't really have friends. So I created a fake second data set, and to be very clear, this is made up, don't report me to Apple, with the IMDb ID in column A, total viewership in column B, and the total cost of producing that show or movie in column C. I can now upload this onto the same ChatGPT thread and say, I just received this data set from a colleague. Your task is to explore and explain the relationships between this new data set with the original one and how they might be used to join the data together. After running for a bit, ChatGPT confirms we can use the IMDb ID field to join the 2 data sets together, and even gives us suggestions on how we can use this newly merged table. For example, we can calculate the cost per viewer, ROI, by genre, for example. After instructing ChatGPT to merge the datasets using the IMDb ID field, it gives us a sample output of this newly merged spreadsheet, right? We see that for Forrest Gump. If I scroll all the way to the right, yes, it now has the total viewership and total cost data in its row along with everything else. And I can even click here to download this merged CSV file. That's pretty awesome. Quick note, I'm focusing on the core dig prompts in this video to not waste your time. In real life, I would have branched out much sooner. For example, earlier when ChatGPT mentioned genre popularity, I'd immediately ask for that analysis and keep digging based on what it finds. The third step, goal setting. This is extremely important to get right because imagine if our manager asked us to analyze the sales data and after working hard to create 20 beautiful slides, our manager says, wait, I just wanted to know if we should discontinue product X. This is what happens when our manager is an idiot. When we analyze data without setting clear goals. We have something that's technically correct, but ultimately useless. Obviously, the prompts we use in this step depend on the specific goal, so I'll just share one example. Here's the prompt. My goal is to understand, and you specify your goal here, I want to understand what content Apple TV should invest in next. Given this goal, which aspects of the data should we focus on? This is basically like giving ChatGPT a mission briefing. It helps the AI prioritize what's important and ignore what's not. Okay, this is very useful. So ChatGPT first breaks down our options for us. For example, if you're on the Apple content team, you might care about viewership, audience demand, and content supply, right? So you would want to do this. If you're in the finance team, you might want to learn more about unit economics and do that. Scrolling down, we even see a step-by-step roadmap. So first, we might want to clean our data, okay? Then we build a genre scorecard. That could be very interesting. Then we rank our opportunities, layer in trend velocity. I would have never thought to do that. And finally, stress test with outliers. Makes sense. And here's the type of insight this process would surface. True crime series deliver 3 times the median views of all series. They cost 18% less per finished hour and have climbed from 4% to 9% share of total watch time in the last 3 years. Okay, wow, that's really impressive. Pro tip, a final question I always like to ask ChatGPT before any presentation is what are the key questions someone reading my analysis would ask and how should we proactively address them? This prompt single-handedly saved my ass multiple times by anticipating, but Jeff, what about this? Questions from managers and overly ambitious peers trying to put me down. Just kidding, everyone loves me. How could they not? 2 things I like to leave you with. First, the dig framework plus ChatGPT levels the playing field for regular, untrained people like us. It's a simple, repeatable process we can all use immediately. Second, although I covered the essentials today, the full Coursera course touches on other important concepts like how to mitigate hallucinations and debug weird data errors. So if you want to level up your data skills, sign up for Coursera using the link in the description to take advantage of my special offer of 40% off for 3 months of Coursera Plus. If you enjoyed this, check out my comprehensive ChatGPT Pro Tips video next. See you all there, and in the meantime,
So that was pretty fast, but yeah. At this time, I would like to get at least 2 questions from our students answered. And thus far, I have one. And to do this for us today, I would like to introduce our very own Miss Pauline Jobity. Pauline is an ICT engineer and holds a BSc in computer engineering and has tremendous experience in programming. So let me ask her our first question from one of our students. Can tools like Claude help us understand our school's energy data even if we are just beginners in Python coding? So, Ms. Jobity.
And the answer is absolutely. Tools like Claude can act like coding assistants for students. Even if you are new to Python, you can ask Claude to help explain your school's energy data, show you simple code to organize the information, and even help you spot patterns, like which days or times your school uses the most electricity. The important thing is that AI helps you learn faster, but your ideas and critical thinking are still what makes the solution meaningful.
Wonderful. I do have another I do have another question, so hold on
Okay.
there for me. How can students use Python and AI tools like Claude to come up with simple ideas to help our schools save electricity? Pauline?
Okay, well, students, you can use Python to look at energy information, such as electricity bills or users' data, and even use AI tools like Claude to help analyze that information for for example, you may discover that air conditioning is using a lot of power after school hours, or that lights are left on in certain areas. From there, your team can create simple AI powered ideas.
For
Like an
example.
energy alert system, a smart reminder of the dashboard that can help the schools track energy use and save money.
Thank you so much. So, thank you for answering our questions. I don't have any additional to posted, and thank you for sharing your knowledge with us today. Students, I know
Thank you.
that we're coming up fast to our near approaching date of June 12th. I don't want you to get anxious or to lose faith, but I would like for you to go online, follow some of these YouTube videos that we have been showing, look at the full thing, and see how much that you can actually absorb and be able to apply to your work. So remember, every expert was once a beginner. What matters most is your willingness to learn, to explore, and to try new things. We look forward to seeing the incredible ideas that you would engage from each of your schools at the AI Energy Hackathon. So, thank you all again for joining us, and do have a wonderful day. Thank you.